Welcome to the Low Carb Conferences podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jeff Gerber, and today we have two special guests, Chris and Miriam Bair, the owners and founders of Keto Chow. Chris and Miriam have been big supporters of many events, including ours, and they'll be back exhibiting in February. So how's it going today, Chris and Miriam?
Going pretty good.
It's a good day.
Yeah, it's two of our children had a birthday today,
Yay.
so we're having a good day.
Well, happy birthday to the kids, and it's great to have you here. So a little bit more about Chris and Miriam and their company. So Chris is a technology and computer geek. He became interested in nutritionally complete future foods back in 2014. While Miriam and Chris were busy raising their 6 children, they learned about the ketogenic diet through their family's own personal health journey. They found the diet to be effective and wanted a simple meal solution, but there wasn't anything available on the market. So they went out on their own and produced their own formula. They perfected it, and they gave it a funny name, calling it Keto Chow. And it wasn't only tasty, but it was also attracting the attention of their friends and family. So what started out with making batches in their own kitchen has now grown into a much larger company and has become a full-time job for both. So far, the company has sustained the test of time. Despite its growth, Chris and Miriam have never forgotten their mission, a focus on family, community, healing, and superior nutrition. So guys, if you can give us a little more background, tell us about your personal and professional interests.
Yeah, so I tend to dominate these conversations. So as much as possible, I'm going to defer to Miriam. So do you want to talk
And then
first?
if I can't think of anything to say, I'll just shoot it back.
Okay.
Chris developed Keto Chow because he really wanted a shake. And I think right away, it's so easy to hear shake and just turn off your brain and be like, I am not a shake person, right? Which I totally was the same way. When he said he wanted to do a shake, I was like, are you crazy?
Oh, no, I'm lazy.
No, but there is a place for a shake. And I think there's a place that's not necessarily everybody, is going to have it. But sometimes you have dental surgery. Sometimes you have knee surgery and you can't get up out of bed for 6 days or 6 weeks or, whatever. So there's a lot of different applications for Keto Chow in addition to just, being lazy and not wanting to cook your food sometimes, right? So we really enjoy having Keto Chow as a tool that you can put into your life wherever you would like it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be every day, right?
So can I ask, back in the days when you were developing in your kitchen, where would you get raw ingredients? As Chris was a geek, and the thing is that, for myself, I'm a geek and a nerd as well. And so we want to kind of take the deeper dive. So how did that all start? Where did you get ingredients?
Well, so back in 2014, there was this company that they did a Kickstarter, named themselves Soylent, which I thought was pretty funny, like Soylent Green, right? And it was a software engineer who was like, I'm tired of making food. I want to just mix something up, and it's super easy. And that actually spoke to me. And I was like, I want to do that too. And so there was this whole movement of do it yourself where people were sourcing ingredients on Amazon and just making recipes, because the company that was doing Soylent, their Kickstarter just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. And so people are like, I want to make my own. I started doing that too, but it was with a really high carbohydrate recipe. And someone else had made the recipe and I was just tweaking stuff and playing with it. And as time went on, well, the main reason why I wanted to do it was because I thought it might be a good way to lose weight. I ended up gaining back all the weight that I had initially lost. And I thought, I've heard about this keto thing. We had a very, very cursory introduction to keto because of some health issues with our son. But I'm like, I want to try a keto version of this nutritionally complete shake thing. And the whole idea was, if you wanted to, you could live on it 3 meals a day, but I just wanted really simple stuff. So I came up with at first I was using a really terrible recipe. then completely changing things around, I went for, why don't we make it actually taste good so that I will enjoy drinking it? And this whole time I was blogging about it. I was sharing the recipe on the website that I had set up for myself. And it just kind of grew into this thing where other people wanted to try it as well, but they didn't want to buy all those ingredients. And so people were like, hey, can you sell me a sample? I'm like, I don't even know how to do that. So set up a WooCommerce site. And I would get home from work. I was a system administrator for a nonprofit genealogy company. And I'd get home from work and I would mix up a batch of, 21 meals of Keto Chow, and
throw it in the mailbox.
Yeah, throw it in the mailbox. And after a while, it got to the point where Miriam started helping me ship stuff out. So I would mix stuff up and then she would ship it out. And then it got to the point where every Saturday, the kitchen was blocked off. We had friends and family coming over and we were putting the stuff together and then shipping it out. But one of the really important things that kind of comes back to all this is I want to make sure that people understand that we're not trying to replace people's steak. We're not trying to replace I literally, outside in the hall right now, there's a sous vide going with 2 steaks in it. And when we're done with this interview, I'm going to take them out to the grill with the blowtorch, and I'm going to sear them up because that's what I want to have for lunch. But this morning, when we were getting ready for, we have 2 live streams today and then this podcast that we're doing. And so we don't have a lot of time. So I had Keto Chow for breakfast. I actually ran it through an ice cream maker and had that while we were having
one of our meetings. Yeah.
But I want to make sure people understand that the whole point of this is that you can use it as a tool for the times that you don't have either the time or the energy or the expertise or whatever to make something nutritious, as opposed to going out and getting a bunless burger and then you're still hungry afterwards because they messed up on it and you had to scrape all the ketchup off and it wasn't very filling and that sort of thing. That's really what we're looking for the majority of people. And like Miriam said, there are the edge cases where you've got people who have dental surgery, and Keto Chow was designed so that if you had the need or you're just really lazy, you could eat it 3 meals a day for months at a time. If someone was on a feeding tube, they could live off it and actually do really well. We have several people, one guy in particular whose mom is in later stages of Alzheimer's, and she doesn't eat anything but Keto Chow because she just will not. She doesn't tolerate the texture of any other foods. He said that the doctors are trying to figure out what he's feeding her, because instead of declining physically, she's actually getting stronger and better. You wanted to say something? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, that's interesting, Chris. When you bring up the tube feeding thing, the only type of ketogenic tube feeding is this Keto Cow. And, it's filled with vegetable oil.
There's corn syrup solids, there's vegetable oil. I've looked at the ingredients to that, and I wonder if the people who make that have actually ever tried it, to be frank and honest, or if they've ever tried eating just that for a couple days
and seeing what it does.
Right. And the longest I've gone with, and I did this for an experiment. If your listeners know who Dave Feldman is, he does a lot of crazy experiments on himself. He wanted to know what different fats do in isolation, where all things equal, if the only variable you changed in your diet was what types of oils, polyunsaturated, saturated, monounsaturated, what would that affect your lipid system? Like, what would that have an effect on? And so for 100 days, I ate nothing but Keto Chow with just different types of fat. Turns out saturated fat, specifically butter, gives the best metabolic results. MCT oil and I actually had another lady who was doing this along with me. So in our N=2, MCT oil caused a significant spike in, triglycerides. Thank you. And it crashed our HDL. So I that's why I actually don't recommend MCT oil unless people need it for a specific neurological condition.
So I saw that you on social media were bragging about your 100-day challenge, and this was precipitated by Dave Feldman's suggestion.
Yeah, well, he only has so much bandwidth. And so if he can get some parallel processing going on with multiple people doing experiments, hey, that's all the better. But yeah, and he gave me a list of blood tests to do. So I was getting blood tests every week, and it was a very interesting experiment. Lots of good data.
And like we said earlier, like you don't need to live on Keto Chow.
No,
this was people to do 100 days of Keto Chow.
That's for crazy
people.
It
was just he just wanted to see without changing any other variables to change the fat. And so Keto Chow is a good tool for that.
Right. So there were two purposes. Number one, to change the oils and the fats and to see what the effects on the lipids were. And then to also demonstrate that you would do fine eating this way for 100 days, but that's not the intent. It's a meal replacement, a supplement to use it as at your liking.
Yeah. So you're at work and you don't know what to have, or my daughter, it was actually last week. She forgot to bring a lunch, and she was working here at the office, and she's like, do you have any food for me? I'm like, well, I have an empty blender bottle and some heavy cream. Do you want chocolate peanut butter Keto Chow for lunch? And she said, yes, I do. So I took seriously 30 seconds, mixed one up and stuck it in the fridge. And about an hour or so later, she grabbed it.
Yeah. So getting back to, the fats and oils that go into these products. So one of the things about Keto Cal is that it has a long shelf life because of the oils. And so, the question is back at you about your product and the shelf life. And the thing is, it doesn't come with the lipids, with the fats. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that and how, and the shelf life. How do you manage all that?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that, Miriam?
Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting. A lot of people are frustrated that we don't have fat included already, but we find that to be
a benefit
because everybody's not exactly the same, and your fat is your lever, right? That you're moving up and down to do things with your body, and so you want to get your protein, and then you want to use the fat as a lever. So everybody's going to have a different amount of fat, and they can choose different types of fat. Like we recommend just to try it out. Try it with heavy cream, like 1/4 of a cup of heavy cream, and then 20 ounces of water, mix it together. So that's a really good, easy way to do it. But you can use any fat you want.
Avocado oil, coconut oil.
Bacon grease. We use butter.
Bacon grease was weird. Butter was amazing.
Yeah. But it's even interesting because you'd think, well, butter would like solidify when you put it in the fridge, but we have acacia gum fiber, which is an emulsifier. And so when you mix it with the butter, it just makes it all together. And that's what makes it so smooth. So it really works well. But yeah, using different fats and just having them to be whatever you want them to be really makes it customizable.
And so someone who needs, say, 1,200 calories a day would use a lot less than someone who needs 1,800 or 2,200 calories a day. We do have some people who they use the minimum amount of fat, which is about 10 grams, and that's just to activate the fat soluble vitamins, because say they're doing, I don't know, protein sparing modified fast, or they're looking just to get a lot of protein in the drink, and then they might be getting fat from other sources throughout the day. But going on the vitamins and stuff like that, and talking about Keto Cal, one of the really important things with us is, and this comes back to, I started doing Keto Chow just with stuff off of Amazon, and I didn't have a lot of control over the sources of the ingredients. We were kind of at the whim of whatever I could find on Amazon. But now we've gotten to the point where, for instance, vitamin B6, there's peroxidol and there's
Peroxidine.
Yeah, peroxidine phosphate, I think is what it is. Those are two very different things. One has been shown in clinical trials to stop seizures in children. The other one has no effect. The one that you commonly see in almost everything is the cheap one. We can specify, no, I want to pay the 15th of a cent extra it costs to get the good one. Same thing with, say, we ran into Carrie Brown, and she, when we first met her, she just about lost her mind when she found out that we were using methylated B vitamins. Specifically, our folate is methylated, so is our vitamin B12. And it doesn't take a lot of extra time, effort, or energy to use the right kinds of vitamins. But all manufacturers will try to use the cheapest thing possible. We're actually using this ourselves. Our children, even though Keto Chow is not indicated for use by pregnant, nursing mothers, or children. Please consult your physician before starting any dietary program. Anyway, that's the legalese out of the way. But our kids use Keto Chow. And I don't want to give them the cheap ingredients. I want them to have actual vitamin A, not a precursor. I want them to have actual vitamin D3, not a precursor. Vitamin MK7, if you want to get technical, instead of K1. I want to make sure it's the best stuff possible, because the people I love the most happen to also use this product. And a lot of people who also are our friends and customers will tell us about people who are particularly vulnerable health-wise that need something to get them over problems. And using Keto Chow, it can be an important part of that.
That's great, Chris.
Also go carnivore, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the product label, and meal replacements in general are fortified. And so you have minerals and vitamins in here. And the argument there is you're picking the ones that are maximally absorbable, have the best effects in terms of health. And so my question is, I imagine you're continuously looking at the product and what we can do to tweak it. And do you foresee that things will change in the future? Do you have it perfect? There's nothing I need to do to make it better at this point?
Well, funnily enough, so we just came out with this today. It's the pecan sticky bun. But here in the top corner, if you can see it, there's a version number. I know so you're geeky. Like, yeah, it's the geekiest thing ever. There's a change log on our website, because every time we learn something new, as quickly as we can, we get that into the product.
About the different vitamins.
Different vitamins. Like the change that you can mix it up with butter. That was a revelation that just came out of nowhere when we were actually at Low Carb Denver in 2019.
Yeah.
I was mixing up some Keto Chow that we were going to bring to the booth to let people try. And one of the things you can mix it with is avocado oil. And I didn't know that you could mix it up with butter at the time. And all of a sudden, I was like, I wonder if I mix it up the same melted butter, and it worked really great. So, but everything that we learn, we put into Keto Chow, and if we find that one of the ingredients isn't the best one, we will change it right away. The iron, for example, we used to have a lot more iron in Keto Chow, and I was actually contacted by one of our users on Reddit, and he said, hey, this is probably too much iron. I'm like, no, this is the US recommended daily intake. And he's like, well, here's the thing about that. Most men, if they get the recommended daily intake over the course of months, will start to build up a toxic amount of iron. And so I researched it, and the dude was actually right. And so it's the amount that's in Keto Chow now is the amount that is appropriate for humans who don't go through a menstrual cycle. How about that? If you do have a menstrual cycle, then the best thing to do is to supplement with a little bit of iron. If you were doing 3 meals a day, or you can eat a steak.
Or eat red meat. I also have my girls take the desiccated liver pills. And that's only if they're not eating a lot of red meat. Right?
Yeah.
So.
But again, edge cases if you're doing 3 meals of keto chow a day, which again, not necessary, not even particularly recommended, but we always want to try to make it as good as possible. Yeah.
Well, Chris, the last time we were together, at least supporting our conference, was 2019. We did bump into each other at MHS a couple months ago, but I remember in 2019, I'm running around like a crazy man trying to organize and run the conference, and often I forget to eat. And so you would kind of grab me and give me little bits of the keto chow, and you know, it's fantastic. I can attest that it's definitely very, very tasty. So we
actually came to the 2020 one as well.
Okay.
That's okay. We probably all want to forget that one, but
yeah, I kind of
conference though.
What's that?
I thought it was a good conference. I actually that one was unique because unlike most conferences where we're stuck out in the hall, that particular one we were actually in the room, and so we got to hear all of it. I think one of the things that stands out to me the most was Dr. Tro. Was it Dr. Tro? I think it was Dr. Tro. Or maybe it was
Dr. Lenskis, maybe Brian.
Yes.
Yeah.
He actually talked about Nif Barker. And so I messaged her on Twitter. I'm like, dude, you're totally getting a call out right now. It was pretty funny. But we enjoyed the 2020 as well. It
was small and intimate, and we did bring all the exhibitors into this gigantic room where, you know, we had a much smaller crowd, and, you know, we were being careful back then. So we kind of put it out of our mind. It was quite the event. And so, you know, we're looking forward to this one next year that we won't have the pressure to shut us down. And, you know, it's great that you're attending. And also, you know, your comments that you're always trying to tweak. And I love it. You're such a computer, you know, engineer geek with the virgins. And we were having a conversation previously that, you know, I kind of like to hack into everything that I do. And, you know, we have common interests where we build gaming computers, and we like to do the networking. And I think in our careers, it's the same thing. As I found looking at people's health and taking a deeper dive in to figure out how it works, how we can make it better. And, you know, we come from two different worlds, but at the end of the day, we're trying to help improve people's health.
Absolutely. Well, and that's one of the important things about, that's one of the reasons why we do this company is, and we haven't ever done it as a way to make money. In fact, if we were trying to make money, we've done a lot of things really wrong.
Well, we're learning.
Yeah. Also, don't hire family and friends because you can't ever fire them. But yeah, trying to help people's lives be better is really what we're trying to go. And we actually, even Miriam and I ran a conference in 2019, and we did a virtual one. We did one this year. Yeah, in 2021. In 2022, we did one, and then we decided we were going to do meetups instead. Because, as you know, running a conference is a big job. It is amazing how you can affect the lives of people, though. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why we want to support you guys. Plus, I mean, we can drive to Denver.
Yeah, we love it. It's close.
Yeah, well, you are close. And I wanted to say, you know, the last time that I was in Utah was at the Homestead Crater.
Oh, right.
Oh,
nice.
Really?
Yeah, where my daughter and I, we got scuba certified, and it's like, it's a natural hot spring. And people say, what are you going to Utah in the middle of the winter?
To scuba dive, of course. What are you doing?
Yeah, so it's like an 8-hour drive. So when we have the conference, you have to come, but we appreciate your support. And we've sat down, we've had drinks together, we've had lunch together, and the passion just oozes out of the two of you. And you're all about community and everything that you have done and continue to do. Just kudos. And I think that makes your company sustainable.
Yeah, when we came to the first Keto Con, a lot of people looked at us and they're like, "Oh, another shake company,
Yeah,
great."
weirdos.
And then we came back, and then we came back, and then we came back, and we're still here. So because we still want to help people out.
Yeah. And I think that's what it comes down to. Like, we hear stories and people say, hey, I couldn't eat because of this problem that I had for this little bit of time, and I just used your shake, and it just really helped me kind of get over this hump, or over this problem. And so it's like, okay, we have a purpose, like we have a reason to keep going. And yeah, it's really nice.
And lately, Ninja came out with this appliance called a Ninja Creamy, which, if you haven't heard about it, it's this ice cream maker it's nuts. But you literally mix up Keto Chow with just the water and heavy cream if you want to. You pour it into this pint container, and it makes ice cream, like better than store-bought ice cream. And I think it's the perfect way to eat Keto Chow, because as an adult, I should be able to eat ice cream for breakfast, which is what I did this morning while I was in that meeting.
I wonder if there's a way you could bring the ice cream to Denver, bring the mixer and
we could
pull that off. I'm sure it has to be on ice and pretty cold, the ingredient.
We actually might be able to pull that off at Denver.
Probably could, because we just need the machine and a plug.
Oh,
a cooler.
Yeah. And we would need a little bit of dry ice.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
we could totally pull that off.
Well, I will. Yeah, well, I will keep bugging you about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's something that we've never even considered, because usually when we go to these conferences, we fly in with anywhere from 8 to 10 suitcases between those of us that are coming, with all the product in them. And then we go to a Walmart and we buy a cooler, because it's cheaper to buy one than it is to fly one. And we buy all this other stuff, and then when we're done, we leave it at the Airbnb that we rented.
Yeah, or give it to a local.
So with a trip to Denver, we could totally pull that off. That'd be fun.
That's great.
Yeah, so I have to ask, over the past several years, has the business, it seems like the business is surviving, and it's moving on. I'd like to ask.
Yeah, we definitely have had some bumps with the pandemic. We had a little bit of slowdown, but mostly it didn't really affect us until like a year and a half later, when the ingredients started being shorter.
Yeah,
so
shortages and availability.
We had to like really be careful with what we were ordering, so that we could keep everything we wanted in stock. We just had to order smaller runs, so that we could just make the ingredients go further. So that, I think, has been the hardest part, just trying to balance that out so that our customers will be able to get what they wanted. And then overall, like, just trying to make sure that we keep our area clean, and everybody, try to keep everyone well. Here at the office too, I'm sure everybody had to deal with the same thing. So
yeah, but we have a bigger and bigger team. Back in in the end of 2021, or was it 2020? In the end of 2020, I was the entire creative team.
Yeah,
like the packaging, all of the stuff like that. That was me by myself. Since then, we've hired several people to do video stuff.
Marketing,
I think we're up to 4 graphic designers now. There's this magic number of 50 employees that we're really close to, and once you hit the 50, then all this stuff changes, but we haven't quite hit that. We skip around it really close, but yeah. And we do all of our own fulfillment too. We don't outsource that to anybody. We actually have a team here that cares about the product, we do the technical support here as well.
Customer service team.
Most of our customer service team
Most of them are on keto.
are
too.
doing keto,
Yeah, and they
or
have
we're doing
100%.
keto and now are doing keto.
Yeah.
But they're talking to people on the phone. I guess I don't know if that's what put them over the edge. They heard about the health benefits and started doing it. But we like to have the control of the fulfillment so that we can make sure that people are taken care of, and we're not just shoving it off to Amazon or something like that. I mean, you can buy Keto Chow on Amazon, but it's better if you buy it from our very nice people who live in Utah.
Yeah, and I think overall, like as a company, we really just want to try to be inclusive and kind to everybody. I know at KetoCon and at your conferences also, we've made sure to go and talk to every vendor. Like, we don't need to have negative competition between each other. Like, we're all trying to build people up together to help heal people, to help people on their health journeys. And so it's just been really great to be able to, get to know different vendors, to get to know different people like you, that we can call upon if we need. And it's just been fantastic.
Yeah. So look, I think everything you're doing is great, and the packaging looks fantastic. And the two of you make yourselves available for your podcast. It's, you can tell that it's just a family business that's growing, and, hopefully it'll continue to grow and get you past the 50 mark. And yeah. The other thing you bring up, Miriam, is actually really interesting. So at least in our conferences, we sometimes get criticism about having exhibitors and products, and that it sends the wrong message that this is all about meal replacements, or not eating real food and products. And my response back is that, look, you guys said it. At the end of the day, it's about eating real food, but I believe that without an industry, you can't have a movement. And just like we're supporting you today, and you support the exhibitors at KetoCon, we're in this together. And I think there's different ways to approach it, and we have to support industries like yours and others.
Yeah. Well, and in turn, like, we help pay for the conference because we get an opportunity to exhibit, but then that also helps the conference grow. So I think it's great. And I think that, everybody needs to, be picky about their health and care, and they can choose not to look at the exhibitors, right, at all. And especially at your conference, you have a lot of doctors and dentists and nurses, and they know a lot more about more people's health than, even we do. And they know which patient you shouldn't show them this because they would have a hard time with, or which patient, that just needs some training wheels for maybe 6 months. And this might be something that could help them. I think that, we if we have that, broader view of overall health, like, and not keto policing things, and just say, what is going to benefit everyone? What can we do to help elevate everyone, right? Instead of just elevate ourselves.
Yeah. Let's not forget that we also invite the general public, non-healthcare professionals.
That's
is
right.
actually a larger, more important, not more important, but just as important aspect of the audience. And it's funny, I joke that, the conference is run by a healthcare professional, myself, and people get the impression that the conference is just for healthcare professionals. And it's like, look, I'm not appealing to my own authority in this situation. I'm just an individual that is passionate about the nutrition as much as the next person. And I happen to be a physician, and perhaps it adds some credibility. Yeah, maybe I am appealing to my authority, but I do want to make it clear that, the audience is very diverse. And so it's healthcare professionals, not non-healthcare professionals, and the general public. And also, Miriam, yes, you bring up the point. We can't have these conferences without you in the audience. And, it's the same. We never set out to make money. My passion is just nutrition education. And, don't go into the conference business, as you know.
Yeah.
Hey, the best way to make $10,000 doing a conference is to start with 20.
Right.
Well said, my friend. So we haven't had the conference in 3 years, and we figured we're going to give it another try.
Yeah.
In 2023, and if you support nutrition science, you need to come to the conference and support what we do, and that includes the exhibitors and the audience. And again, I stand firm that we need to support industry that is behind this movement.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't actually hurt our feelings if people don't like shakes.
Yep.
By the way,
we're totally fine.
If people come up and they're like, you know what, I actually don't like your shakes. And I'm like, well, if I got news for you, we also have electrolytes that have no sweetener, no flavor, no color. It's literally just electrolytes. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess we can be friends.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the electrolytes, which I still have some bottles that you can add to any kind of liquid. Anything you want to add about that?
Do you want to talk about that, Miriam? I mean, it's just like we said, we started off with kind of a mix electrolyte that's like all the different ones. You kept on getting cramps
at night, and so I wanted to get magnesium, and our magnesium, it tastes horrible.
Oh, it tastes like fire,
but it works so good. Like, it works really well. It's really absorbable. Like, and you can get magnesium pills. I know, I have magnesium pills too. But the liquid magnesium, it works instantly.
Magnesium chloride, it absorbs really fast.
So it's just another thing to put, in your toolbox.
Yeah. And then Dr. Barry was like, hey, I think he got tired of taking a bunch of different supplements like iodine and chromium and potassium and stuff. He's like, can you just make me, here's a laundry list, make me a supplement. We're like, okay. So we made that too. And even if you don't like our electrolytes, we can still be friends.
Yep.
We just want to help people on their journey to better health. And our favorite thing of all is when people reduce, with the help of a doctor, reduce the amount of prescriptions that they have to take. That's the best thing in the world. Get all the stuff out of the way. Let your
body can heal itself.
Amazing body.
So we go ahead.
I was just going to say, we say that it's not keto that's actually healing people. You're just getting things out of the way, and people's bodies are designed to heal themselves. And it's just amazing. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. So we call that deprescribing. And so you are hearing stories from your customers about success, and we get that as well. And I love that we have Keto Chow as an option to our patients. And again, it's their choice to use it or not to use it. And I like the option because I really think long term, although it's called Keto Chow, there's different definitions of what keto is. But we think backing down on fat intake while increasing protein is a great long-term solution. And that's available if people want a quick meal replacement, and they can just adjust the fat intake. The only catch is you have to bring the fats with you to work to make the mixture.
Right.
Well, my preferred thing to do is to mix up like 6 or more days worth of Keto Chow at a time
in the fridge,
and just leave it in the fridge, because they keep anywhere from, well, depending on the fat you use. With heavy cream, it keeps 6 days. With my children, it keeps 2 days because they steal it. And so I have to make more. But then I can just grab it and go to work. Now, you can keep stuff at work, which also works as well if you want to change it. But mixing it up ahead of time is by far the best way to do it. Then you can just grab it and take off.
Okay. Hey, well, great, guys. Well, let's finish up. I like to ask you, you probably already said a lot of it, but what do you enjoy most about coming to these events in person?
The people. I love the people. It's just so nice to make those relationships and to get to know people. And there's so many kind people in the world, and they just want, what's best for you, what's best for everybody. And it feels so good to come and feel like we're on the same mission with people like you, with and the speakers that speak, you have a diverse amount of people so that I can understand something, that Chris can understand something, and we can all get something out of it and turn around and help improve our own lives. And so I just really enjoy, getting to know the people and just getting that rush of, these are my people, like they're helping me grow and move forward with my life. And then I can go home and apply some of those things that I learned. And it's wonderful.
Yeah. Hanging out with doctors who are so kind as to take a couple seconds to explain to someone who doesn't know what A1C is.
That's right.
What A1C means.
That was you. You explained it to me the first time we met.
That was a Keto Fest in 2017. So,
well, at least someone understood something that I tried to explain.
Yeah, Miriam said everything I wanted to. So
great. Okay, well, to our audience, we want to thank Chris and Miriam, and Keto Chow will be exhibiting at our conference again. Chris and Miriam will be there, so I encourage you to consider attending. We have a great lineup of speakers. And again, if you support our conference, you're supporting nutrition science. For more information about the conference, please visit lowcarbconferences.com. So that's all for now. And it's great to see and talk to you, Chris and Miriam, and we'll catch everyone next time.
Right. Bye.
Bye.